NPR.
Adrian, Waylon, I don't know about you guys, but on Monday I came back to a chock-a-block full inbox with so much news happening right now.
How about an episode where we all share one story we have been following?
All right. This is The Indicator from Planet Money. I'm Darian Woods.
I'm Waylon Wong.
And I'm Adrian Ma.
Today on the show, we're each going to give a slice of the news. We're going to look at Venezuela's massive amount of debt, the latest in the eggpocalypse saga, and downsizing in the video game industry.
Life, liberty, and the pursuit of cheap eggs.
This message comes from NPR sponsor Charles Schwab with its original podcast on investing. Each week, you'll get thoughtful, in-depth analysis of both the stock and the bond markets. Listen today and subscribe at schwab.com/oninvesting or wherever you get your podcasts.
Support for this podcast and the following message come from Vanguard. Every day, shareholders meet to discuss important matters about the companies you invest in. Now you can make your voice heard too. Vanguard Investor Choice makes it easy to set your proxy voting preference for your eligible Vanguard index funds. Visit Vanguard.com/investor choice to learn more. Vanguard investors own shares of their index funds, and those funds own shares of the companies they invest in. Vanguard Marketing Corporation, distributor.
This message comes from Odoo. Running a business shouldn't feel like surviving a software group project. Start managing your business with one unified system. Odoo is the all-in-one business management software. Try for free today at odoo.com/NPR podcasts.
Okay, first up, Darian Woods, tell us about the economic news that you have been chasing.
I've been watching Venezuela quite closely, and in particular, the shockingly large debt its government holds. You know, the government is trying to undertake one of the world's largest debt restructures ever as we speak, which could not have come at a worse time given the earthquakes.
Yeah, the destruction looks absolutely horrific.
It really is. There are thousands of confirmed dead, but the real death toll is likely much higher. And at the same time, the economic damage is immense. There's been billions of dollars worth of economic destruction that sums up to about a tenth of Venezuela's GDP. But like with the deaths, the final toll could be substantially more.
So those costs would just add to Venezuela's debt problem.
Yeah, the Venezuelan government is likely going to borrow a lot more for reconstruction. There is one tailwind for Venezuela, which is that the US has eased a lot of sanctions. For now, the US is on side with the interim Venezuelan government. That's meaning oil production could double over the next 2 years.
I mean, that's true, but the economic situation is still so fragile.
Yeah, even before the earthquakes, Venezuela's government borrowing was at red alert levels. The government has about $240 billion in debt it's trying to renegotiate. And to put that into perspective, Venezuela's entire GDP, its entire year's worth of economic output, is $100 billion. And this number surprised a lot of analysts. They knew it was bad, but not this bad. And now Venezuelan officials are paying a Wall Street investment bank to negotiate with its lenders.
Okay, but what actually are they negotiating over?
Basically, it's how much debt is forgiven and what the terms are for an extension. It's so the country can borrow more to stabilize its economy. It's really complex, and not least because it involves a hodgepodge of parties. So on top of the usual government bondholders, you also have $30 billion owed to companies who weren't paid their invoices to the Venezuelan government. You've got companies that are owed a total of $20 billion for having their assets expropriated. ExxonMobil is a big example. They had their assets taken under former Venezuelan President Hugo Chavez. That is presumably part of the current negotiations between Venezuela and Exxon about the oil company returning to Venezuela.
I mean, that is a mess. You've got oil companies, you have money, you have politics, and then a whole universe of creditors who want their money back.
And throw in earthquakes, and yeah, that is the grim economic story in Venezuela right now.
Let's shift back to the U.S. now with Waylon. What is your story?
My story has to do with eggs here in the U.S. Do you remember last year when egg prices were going totally berserk?
Yes, I visited an egg farm to see what was going on.
You saw the madness firsthand.
I did.
And you might remember that there were some different explanations circulating for why egg prices were so high. There was one explanation that was a definite factor, a massive outbreak of bird flu. This is what you covered, Darian. The industry lost tens of millions of egg-laying hens. Then there was another explanation that was a little bit more speculative or controversial, and that is corporate greed. The idea that egg producers were hiking their prices beyond what would be reasonable to cover their rising costs.
Yeah, greedflation. This is a hot area of debate.
And now we have a new development in the world of eggs. Last week, the Justice Department announced it reached settlement agreements with 3 big egg producers. The DOJ and 17 states accuse these companies of illegally coordinating to inflate egg prices between June 2022 and March 2025. These companies are Kale-Maine Foods, Hickman's, and Versova.
Were the CEOs calling each other to say, hey, let's charge $10 for a dozen eggs this week?
Yeah, so what the government accuses them of doing is a bit more complicated. There is this market publication that issues daily price quotations for eggs, and these quotes influence the prices that grocery stores and restaurants pay for eggs. Well, the government says these big egg companies coordinated on submitting information to this publication that inflated the prices.
So what's going to happen now?
Well, first I should say that these 3 companies have not admitted wrongdoing, but in these proposed settlements, the 3 companies will pay $3.3 million to the states involved in the lawsuit. They have to put antitrust compliance programs in place, and they also have to donate more than 53 million eggs that will go to food pantries and nonprofits.
No bad eggs allowed.
All right, Adrian, what do you have for us?
This week, I've been following some big developments in the world of video games, and specifically involving 2 of its biggest players, Microsoft and Sony. So, starting with Microsoft, they make the Xbox console, and they announced on Monday that they're planning to lay off over 3,000 employees from its Xbox division.
Yeah, I heard a new leader came in and said this business was not in the right place.
But they already did a bunch of layoffs, I think maybe even from Xbox earlier, right?
This is sort of just the latest turn in what has been kind of an unfortunate series of events for the video game industry. One big reason that is cited is that during the pandemic, people were cooped up at home, and Microsoft, in its case, it placed a huge bet on video games. It hired a bunch of people for Xbox. It spent tens of billions of dollars acquiring various game studios like Activision Blizzard. And it thought that all these investments would pay off later. But now they basically said that we got it wrong. We miscalculated. And the head of the Xbox division actually says in a typical year, they've been losing about 64 cents for every dollar that they've invested.
I'm no financial expert.
64 cents
That doesn't sound like a
dollar?
good return on investment.
Oh, no.
And Microsoft's competitor, Sony, has also been in the news in recent days because, well, they've laid off some employees recently, not as many as Microsoft. The big thing they'll be doing is making a big change to how they distribute games. And they say, starting in 2028, they'll stop releasing new games on discs, and they'll only be available digitally. So, you know, they say that this is where their customers already are. That's how they prefer to buy the games. But I think it's fair to say that this also looks like a financial move by them, right? If they don't have to incur the costs of producing discs, that just means more profit for them.
What about the GameStop investors? What's going to happen to GameStop?
Yeah, won't someone think of the Gamestop investors?
They've already had their 15 minutes.
They already had their fun.
The fun's over, children.
Yeah. But of course, the game players, you know, the ones buying the games, a lot of them are upset about this. And to put it in economic terms, what these gamers are losing with this conversion to digital is something called consumer surplus. An economic term that basically means the value you're getting from a product is above what you paid for it. And for a lot of gamers, there's value in owning a disc. You know, it provides a physical asset that you can continue to play, even if Sony someday decides to take this game off of its digital platform. And with a disc, you can also lend it out to a friend. You could even sell it and get some of your investment back when you're done playing it. And these things don't really apply to digital purchases.
This makes me think about how I still own physical DVDs and Blu-rays. But when you watch movies on streaming, they don't have the commentary tracks. And I love commentary tracks. So we've lost the behind-the-scenes featurettes on the commentary tracks. That's like negative consumer surplus.
What about you, Darren? Is there like a category of media where like the physical thing is super important to you?
To me, it'd be a physical postcard or a letter.
Let's bring it back. I love a physical letter.
This episode was produced by Cooper Katzber-Kim and engineered by Kwesi Lee. It was fact-checked by Sierra Juarez. Kate Kincannon is our editor, and The Indicator is a production of NPR.
Once upon a time, there was a listener who just couldn't get enough of The Indicator from Planet Money.
Who was it? Rumpelstiltskin?
This listener tuned in all the time but thought, what if there was more?
But Rumpelstiltskin would be in luck because The Indicator has a brand new newsletter.
That's right. We talk about what we think matters in the news that week. We answer your listener questions and talk about all the crazy gags we get up to.
It comes out Friday mornings. Sign up now at npr.org/Indicator newsletter.
This message comes from Integrative Therapeutics, makers of Cortisol Manager. Daily stressors come and go, and heightened stress can affect sleep and focus. Cortisol Manager helps support a healthy response to everyday stress. Available at Amazon.com. Use code STRESS2026 for 20% off. These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. This message comes from Rosetta Stone. Rosetta Stone Sapphire personalizes your language learning. Get unlimited access to all 25 Rosetta Stone languages and Sapphire learning tools. Visit rosettastone.com/NPR and receive 20% off.